for chapter 6 of The Billionaire Boy by David Walliams. Now, chapter 6 is called The Grubbs, and we've heard of the Grubbs already in our story, but we've not met them. So if you remember, Bob was telling Joe that the Grubbs were twins, and these twins were not very nice. He actually referred to them as bullies, and we're about to meet them. Shall we go ahead? Let's go. "Oi, Blob!" came a shout from behind them. "Just keep walking," said Bob. Joe turned to look around and glimpsed a pair of twins. They looked terrifying, like gorillas in human suits. These must be the dreaded Grubbs Bob had talked about. "Don't look around," said Bob. "I'm serious. Just keep walking." Joe was beginning to wish he was luxuriating in the safety of the back seat of his chauffeur-driven Rolls Royce rather than walking to the bus stop. "Fatso!" As Joe and Bob walked faster, they could hear footsteps behind them. Although it was still early, the winter sky was blackening. The street lamps flickered on and blotches of yellow light spilled onto the wet ground. "Quick, let's run down here," said Bob. The boys dashed down an alley and hid behind a giant green wheelie bin that was parked at the back of a Bella Pasta. "I hope they're going to be okay." "I think we've lost them," whispered Bob. "Are those the Grubbs?" asked Joe. "Shh! Keep your voice down." "Sorry," whispered Joe. "Yeah, it's the Grubbs." "The ones who bully you?" "That's them. They're identical twins, Dave and Sue Grubbs." "Sue? One of them's a girl." Joe could swear that when he turned around and seen the twins following them, both of them had thick facial hair. "Sue's a girl, yes," said Bob, as if Joe was some kind of idiot. "Then they can't be identical," whispered Joe. "I mean, if one's a boy and one's a girl." "Well, yes, but no one can tell them apart." Suddenly, Joe and Bob heard footsteps coming closer and closer. "I can smell fat boys," came a voice from the other side of the bin. The Grubbs wheeled the bin away to reveal the two boys crouching behind it. Joe took his first good look at the pair. Bob was right. The Grubbs were identical. They both had matching crew cuts, hairy knuckles and moustaches, all of which seemed unfortunate for both of them. Let's play Spot the Difference with the Grubbs. Can you spot the 10 differences between these two? I'm not sure I can spot any. They definitely do look identical. No, you can't. They are exactly the same. A gust of cold wind hummed through the alley. An empty can trundled past on the ground. Something twitched in the bushes. How was the cross-country run without your kit today, Blob?" chuckled one Grub. "I knew that was you two," Bob replied angrily. "So what did you do with it?" "It's in the canal," chuckled the other. "Now give us your chocolate." Even hearing their voices didn't give any clues as to who was Dave and who was Sue. Both their voices wavered high and low in one sentence. I'm taking some home for my mum," protested Bob. "I don't care," said the other Grub. "Give us it, you little bleep," said the other one. I have to confess, reader, that the bleep bit was a swear word. Other swear words include bleep, bleep, and of course the incredibly rude bleep. If you don't know any swear words, it's best to ask a parent or a teacher or other responsible adult to make a list for you. For example, here are some of the rude words I know. Puttock, crunter, noog, smagger, ming-ming, Glasgow, ferp, fetcher, nadgers, blim-blam, coobdris, trunt, jufer, klutzak, bullmunter, gunder, whizplop, huppletrut, bwatter, lopcroc, moozer, frink, dangle-spangles, boola-boola, burnop, oodplops, lingpoop, twatter, plume fizz, lumweed, Numas, Blamfam, Pognots, Vuganbits, Zucky Zuck, Saming, Cumbo Drops, Poot Puddle, Kungo, Bim Bim, Paffer, Goodiging, Nonky, Humbum, Ponk, Hool, Blunkers, Pum Pum, Minky, Grunt Bunt, Poob, Draz, Knocky Neuters, Luzzer, Plim Plam, Vart. All of these words are so rude, I wouldn't dream of putting them in this book. Don't pick on him, said Joe. Then he instantly regretted drawing attention to himself again as the Grubbs took a step towards him. Or what? Said either Dave or Sue. Their breath toxic from a bag of skips they had recently snatched from a little girl in year 5. Or Joe searched his mind for something to say that would crush these bullies forever. Or I'll be very disappointed with you both. What do we think is going to happen now? That wasn't it. The Grubbs laughed. They snatched what was left of the Cadbury's Dairy Milk Bar from Bob's hand and then grabbed his arms. They lifted him up and, as Bob yelled for help, they deposited him into the wheelie bin. Before Joe could say anything else, the Grubbs were stomping off down the road laughing with their mouths full of stolen chocolate. Joe dragged a wooden crate over, then stood on it to give himself more height. He leaned down into the bin and caught hold of Bob under the armpits. With a great heave, he started to pull his heavy friend out of the bin. Are you okay? He asked as he strained to take Bob's weight. Oh yeah, they do this to me most days, said Bob. He peeled some spaghetti and Parmesan cheese out of his curly hair. Some of it might have been there since the last time the Grubb twins deposited him in a bin. Well, why don't you tell your mum? I don't want her to make her worry about me. She's got enough to worry about already, replied Bob. Maybe you should tell a teacher then. The Grubb said, if I ever told anyone that they would really beat me up, they know where I live, and even if they got expelled, they could still find me, said Bob. He looked like he was about to cry. Joe didn't like to see his new friend upset. One day, I'll get them back. I will. My dad always used to say the best way to beat bullies is to stand up to them. One day, I will. Joe looked at his new friend, standing there in his underwear, covered in scraps of Italian food. He thought of Bob standing up to the Grubbs. That boy would get massacred. But maybe there's another way, he thought. Maybe I can get the Grubbs off his back forever. He smiled. He still felt bad about paying Bob to come last in the race. Now he can make up for it. If his plan worked, he and Bob were going to be more than just friends. They'd be best friends. And that is the end of chapter 6. Now, that chapter, we've learned that Bob is getting bullied quite badly by the Grubbs. They're not being very kind to him at all, and actually it's daily that they're being unkind to him. And he's too afraid to tell a teacher or worried about telling his mum. Now, my little message from that is you should always, always talk to an adult or talk to a friend who would talk to an adult for you, okay? Someone's been unkind, always tell your teacher, your teaching assistant, your mum, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, your nan, your granddad, whoever it is that you feel safe talking to, talk to them. Bye.